Welcome to Real Talk, a podcast on well-being. This is a partnership between the Academy for Workforce Development and the Office of Organizational Development. My name is Tracy Davis, and I am the Director for the Academy for Workforce Development, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Lenisa Mathew. During this segment, you will hear about workplace connectedness. This is our second version of our podcast. We have 2 more to go. The third one will be around compassion fatigue, and the fourth one has to do with resources for life. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Lenisa to introduce herself.
Thanks so much, Tracy. So I am the Director of Organizational Development here at DCF, and I am so excited to be able to be here in this room with our fabulous Willimantic office here, and excited to be able to just provide this space where we can honestly just have the real talk. And I would love to start by introducing Melanie Mercado, who is the Director of the office. Melanie, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and then introduce the group.
Thank you so much, Lenisa. As you mentioned, my name is Melanie Mercado, and I'm the Office Director for the Willimantic office. I've been with DCF for 22 years now, and I'm really excited to have the privilege to be leading the Willimantic office and the fantastic team that I get to lead every day. I would like to pass it over to Jalisa and the rest of the team so they can go ahead and introduce themselves.
Thank you, Melanie. As Melanie stated, my name is Jalisa Thornton, and I am a DCF social worker in the Willimantic office. I've been with the office for about 2 years now. I'm going to pass it over to Monica Smith.
Hello, everybody. I'm Monica Smith. I'm a supervisor in the Willimantic area office. I've been with the department for just about 17 years and counting, and all that time in the Willimantic area office.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Rivera. I'm an intake social worker for DCF in Willimantic. I have been an intake social worker since 2007, and I have been with the agency for 18 plus years.
Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And for our listeners and our participants, this podcast series actually developed from the training survey that you all took in April of 2022. The overwhelming response was that staff wanted to hear a little bit more about burnout, ways to prevent it, strategies to help them stay healthy. And this section around connectedness will hopefully lead you down that path to understand the importance of that. And so I'm so grateful to you all for being here to participate with us. Melanie, tell us a little bit about the project and how this came to be.
Absolutely, Tracy. Willimantic office was very fortunate in being selected to participate in the Innovation and Implementation Learning Collaborative, also known as I2LC. We are in partnership with the National Partnership for Child Safety, Casey Family Programs, and the University of Kentucky Center for Innovation and Population Health. Through this national project, we are able to work with about 8 different jurisdictions nationwide, including states such as Oregon, New Hampshire, California. We have an exciting team that represents Connecticut DCF, specifically within the Willimantic office. And within that team, we sit and have internal meetings as well as national meetings. Within our team, we have Jody Hill-Lilly, our Deputy Commissioner. We also have Tina Jefferson, our Chief of Staff, Sean Wright, our Assistant Chief of Staff, and then we have our fabulous team that you just heard from, right? We have staff represented from every seat. We have a diverse team where they're different in regards to tenure, how many years they've been with the department, where they sit at the department. We have ongoing services. We have investigations team. We have a supervisor. And Jalisa is an employee who started with us during COVID. So it's really important to get her perspective in regards to how things are going within the office, as well as those that have stuck around for us through tenure in the office. So we we have a very exciting team. And the beauty of the team is that the regional team gets to tap into central office where we're heard, where when we bring up issues, they help us sort through those. And where we really feel like leaders within this work, they allow us to have that voice, and it brings solutions to the table where we're respected and heard. So that has been a fantastic opportunity for the Willimantic office.
Excellent. Lenisa?
That is incredible. I'm just so excited to have you all here today. And, really, so our first guest who joined us, she really spoke about, ways in which to combat burnout. She talked about the difference between stress versus burnout. But one of the things, a tip she suggested was it really came down to connection. And I thought it was how fabulous is that here we have our Willimantic group who literally for the past year have been committed, dedicated to ensure that we work towards this goal of how do we continue to connect in these crazy times, right? Let's keep it real. So, to have you all here means a lot. And the intention is to be able to speak your truth and what this means to you. So one of the things I'd love to start off by asking is that, under the context of workplace connectedness, which is really what this I2LC cohort we have been focusing in on, what are ways in which you have connected with each other and the office?
That's a great question, Lenisa. Again, this is Monica Smith, and a supervisor here from the Willimantic team. And I'd like to just start out by saying that we've wrestled with that. Like, what does connectedness really mean? And as a group, we've had to kind of bring that forward. And ultimately, we landed on a couple of key points that really worked for us. One of them was regular and frequent meetings, both virtual, and really underscored the importance of meeting in person. So, and how that really kind of made our group a little bit more cohesive. Coming up with a shared and common language, also being able to do self-reflection on how we're showing up in our workspace, how we're showing up as a team member, how we're contributing to the office morale in general, and how moving forward, because we really have decided as a team that this was, even though, like you said, we've been at it for a year, that this is really our starting point. Because
Love it.
For Real Talk,
Yeah.
we didn't come from a space where we were cohesive and connected in our office.
Yeah, I hear you. You're not alone.
Yeah. So we're really excited about what this next year will bring us, and we really feel like we're in a good spot to actually start the work that we've done some groundwork.
Oh, that's terrific. That's terrific. Alicia, would you be able to tell us a little bit from your perspective how this has, how you've seen changes in the office or how it's impacted you?
Yeah, so I think we have been in the same office for all of our career. So it's kind of the Willimantic office is ingrained in us. And so one of the things that over years we have seen with different management, different teams, is the lack of connection, right? The separation. And over the past year, I think this team has been committed to really working on how do we make a shift and how do we really kind of keep ourselves healthy, sane, and also really support one another. So one of the things that I took accountability for myself was a lot of the self-reflection that I had to do, kind of my own accountability of what I brought to the team, the office, right? So if I'm negative all the time, then that's what I'm going to produce, negativity. So when Monica was talking about shared language, one of the things that I think at the forefront we talked about was really processing versus venting, really changing kind of the way that we were approaching things. And again, nothing is perfect. We're all a work in progress. I've shared with everybody here that I am one of these people that I have good and bad days, but every day I get up and I say, okay, I can be a better version of myself because at the end of the day, we're all in it together.
So beautifully said.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. It's heartfelt. And I can tell through just you and Monica talking that you're ingrained in this, that you're steeped in this, that you believe in this, yes. And it's genuine. And that's so important. So let's pivot a little bit and let's focus on Jalisa and Alicia. What are you seeing as changes in the office based on your efforts in this particular project? And we'll start with Jalisa.
Yes. So some of the changes that I have seen in the office based on the I2LC project is that there's a lot more engagement and participation in office events. As Melanie stated earlier, I came during the middle of COVID, so my experience is unique. At that time, when I did initially come to the office, I did see there wasn't as much participation. The staff morale seemed to be very low versus now we're coming somewhat out of the pandemic. There's a lot more involvement. People are more willing to be involved in office activities, office events. Alicia, you can tell us a little bit more about your experience since you've been here for a lot longer.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the agency and the Willimantic office has always had, the wellness committee, different things that we have adapted over the years. But most recently, I think that there's been a connection in the sense of like including everybody, right? So kind of when, I think Melanie may have said leadership from every seat earlier today, it really has become about we all have that voice, which is not something that I think I can say that I've been used to, right?
I would agree.
Approaching management as a worker independently. So I feel like that's been a huge shift in that. And just really like when we think about supporting one another, right? The level of support that we have gotten, like I can speak to my intake team, right? Where everybody has really like come together from the supervisors to the program supervisors to really working collaboratively, doing home visits, making collaterals, just given the crisis that we're currently in. Yes. That has been a huge shift that I have never seen before in the time that I've worked for this agency.
So can I just bring it back to Jalisa for a second? You mentioned that you came in during COVID. This project and just the experience that you've gained thus far, how has it changed or heightened your commitment to the department and the work?
So being involved in this project has certainly changed the way that I go about doing my daily work. I feel more valued, appreciated, and seen. One thing that I can share as a personal experience was I was initially when coming to the agency within about 6 months, I was offered a different position with a previous company that I had worked for. At that time, I was faced with the decision of whether I should go and work for the same agency with a promotion or stay with the agency that I am currently in with DCF. It was a hard decision that I did have to make, but ultimately I chose to stay. And a few reasons why I chose to stay was because, as I said, I do feel more valued, appreciated, and seen. I feel like I am able to be my authentic self and show up with full transparency. So that is one of the few reasons why I have decided to stay. I feel like this time is a little bit more different than previous times. And Monica, you can talk a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate those comments, Jalisa, and especially being a supervisor in the office where, again, real talk, we have a lot of transition.
Yeah.
We really are working very hard to have people stay when they come. So a lot of our team discussion has been, how do we take the work that we're doing within our team and infuse that in other committees and areas in our office so that we can promote an environment where people want to stay, where they feel committed, where they feel valued and seen and validated. And I think that we're on a good track to get there.
Thank you, Monica. So, Alicia, let me ask you a question. So you're in intake, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so it's difficult now. Real talk, right?
Right.
Intake is difficult. So what's driving you? What's been your motivation? Because you mentioned being with the agency for 18 years, and now you're involved in this project and in the intake side of the work. What's keeping you going? What's keeping you connected?
So, I mean, I think that one of the things that I can speak to, right, and I think I've voiced this during a lot of the internal meetings that we have had with I2LC as well as just with amongst ourselves, is that really, so there's a couple things. There is the notion of the safe and sound culture,
Yes,
right?
the same thing.
And the ability for us to really be who we are and have the staff really have the openness to listen to us without having that sense of feeling of, are we going to be in trouble for what I just said? So I think that's really important. The other thing for me, and I can only speak for myself, is really when I was talking earlier about really controlling myself, right? Or just there are certain things that I can do to stay healthy for me, which is, again, that self-reflection and understanding that today will be stressful, but that I can only control what is within my capacity. I'm human, so I have good and bad days, and there are moments that I'm like, my goodness, I probably maybe shouldn't have not said that or shouldn't have behaved in a certain way. However, I can self-reflect on that and say, I can tomorrow maybe present the better version of me. And that's really what the work has been about, right? Because I think that if I can show up to work and present that better version of me, I'm hopeful that the people around me will then kind of carry some of that same message, right? Because if we feed into the negativity, then we're all stuck in that negativity.
I love that you said that. And I really love that you talked about safe and sound too, right? Because the truth is, this is examples in which we hear safe and sound, but what you all have done today is really bringing examples, voice. What does it look like on the ground in general, wherever you sit? When we talk about leadership from every seat, and I appreciate you sharing that because that is such real talk and from every perspective.
Absolutely. Powerful from all of you in terms of the work that you have been doing, and I would assume will continue to do for years to come. This is great, and it's I want to say trend setting, but it really is steeped in the practice, in the belief in the work.
Yes.
And with your leadership, Melanie, with
Absolutely.
your guidance and leadership within that office, really transforming it to get your staff to where you need them to be to better help our families. So kudos.
That's it, Tracy, right? So not only is it to ensure that we have a strong workforce that is healthy, but it is to get those great outcomes, because I have a dedicated group of staff who really want to do well, want to ensure that families are preserved, that children are safe. And I think what this allows us to do is ensure that we have a healthy workforce so they can do their very best when they're out with families and children that they're working with. So thank you for recognizing that.
You're welcome.
Monica, I would love to also hear about what this project has meant to you and what your perspective is as well, this experience.
Well, I have to say that, being here for 17 plus years, I've seen some roller coaster ride of how things have shifted, and I've always pretty much been connected to staff support or wellness. And I had gotten to a point before the I2LC project that I was feeling, I wouldn't say burnt out, but I was definitely feeling disenfranchised. I was feeling like my hope in things getting better was waning. Mm-hmm. And this project has really re-energized me. It has filled me with hope that things can be different, that things can be better. And I think because of the team, the makeup of the team, when Melanie had referenced leadership from every seat, that's not just surface level conversation. We ensure that there are multiple different layers of leadership in the office represented in our conversations, from our office even up through CO. And that is really a powerful, has been a very powerful thing.
Oh, that's beautiful. You guys are representing Willimantic so beautifully. And the intention is that really to take the hard work and dedication you've literally poured into and replicating this right across the state. And I want you to know that's the intention. And so it is about how we continue to collaborate, safe and sound, right? How do we continue to do better in our works? But it is the effort of being able to move collectively in the same direction. And you all have done that so beautifully. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.